It's time for spelling analysis, and this is level B. Are you ready? All right, the first word is smooth. The carpenter sanded the wood until it was smooth. Let's say smooth, smooth. Now let's sound it out. S, m, oo, use an oo, o. Go ahead and write smooth. Sound it out as you write it. Good. Now help me to write it. S, m, oo, v. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the oo and the v. What sound of th do we hear in smooth? That's right, the second. So we'll put a little 2 over it. And the next word is seashell. That is a beautiful seashell. Go ahead and say seashell. How many syllables in seashell? 2. We will say to spell seashell. What will we say to spell? Seashell. The first syllable is C, S, E. Use an E, A. The second syllable is shell, Sh, E, O. Go ahead and write seashell. Remember, it ends in O. Good. I like how you're sounding it out. Good, now help me to write it. The first syllable is C, S, E, and the second syllable is shell, Sh, E, O. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the E and we'll underline the sh. And notice we doubled the L. We often double F, L, or S before or after a single short or broad vowel. Here, it's a short vowel. Let's read it. S, E, sh, E, O. Seashell. Hey, do you see that there's 2 words here making up a compound word? The word sea, which is like the ocean, and a shell. This is a shell that's found near the sea, and it's called a seashell. The next word is afternoon. Let's have a picnic this afternoon. Afternoon. Go ahead and say afternoon. Good. How many syllables? 3. We will say to spell afternoon. What will we say to spell? Afternoon. Let's sound it out together. The first syllable is af. The second syllable is the ear of her. The third syllable is noon. Oo. This is an oo, n. Go ahead and write afternoon. Once again, sound it out as you write it so that you are sure that you write every phonogram that's in the word. Good. Now let's sound it out together. The first syllable is af. The second syllable is The third syllable is noon. N. How will we mark it? We'll underline the and the oo. So, do you notice we have the word after and we have the word noon? And afternoon is the time that is afternoon. Let's read it. Afternoon. The next word is igloo. The children went outside in the snow and they built an igloo. Go ahead and say igloo. How many syllables in igloo? 2. We will say to spell igloo. What will we say to spell? Igloo. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is ig. The second syllable is loo. Oo. Use an oo, o. Go ahead and write igloo. Good. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is ig. The second syllable is loo. Oo. How do we mark it? We'll underline the oo. Let's read it. Igloo. Igloo. The next word is stuff. Can you put all your stuff in the bag? Stuff. Go ahead and say stuff. Let's sound it out. Go ahead and write stuff. Excellent. Now help me write it. And you'll notice we doubled the F. Why? We often double FL or S after a single short or broad vowel, and there it is, there's the short vowel. Let's read it. Stuff. The next word is sandwich. That looks like a delicious sandwich. Go ahead and say sandwich. Good. How many syllables? 2. We will say to spell sand-wich. What will we say to spell? Sand-wich. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is sand. S-A-N-D. The second syllable is wich. W-I-Ch. Go ahead and write sand-wich. Excellent. I like how you're sounding it out. Good. Now help me write it. The first syllable is sand. S-A-N-D. The second syllable is wich. W-I-Ch. And how do you mark it? You'll underline the ch. Let's read it. S-A-N-D-W-I-Ch. Sandwich. The next word is bunch. I picked a bunch of flowers. Bunch. Go ahead and say bunch. Let's sound it out. B-U-N-C-H. Go ahead and write bunch. Excellent. Now help me to write it. Bunch. B-U-N-C-H. And how do we mark it? Well, underline the ch. Let's read it. B-U-N-C-H. Bunch. The next word is garden. I think I'll go work in the garden tonight. Garden. Go ahead and say garden. How many syllables in garden? 2. We will say to spell gar-den. What will we say to spell? Gar-den. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is gar. G-R. The second syllable is den. D-E-N. Go ahead and write gar-den. Good. Good sounding it out. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is gar. G-R. The second syllable is den. D-E-N. And how do we mark it? Well, underline the R. Let's read it. G-R-D-E-N. Garden. The next word is quart. I would like to buy a quart of milk. Quart. Go ahead and say quart. Let's sound it out. Actually, I want you to say to spell quart. Quart. Got it? Let's sound it out. Quart. Quart. So you're kind of exaggerating. Quart. Go ahead and write it. Good. Now help me write it. Quart. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the qu and the r. Quart, quart. Good. How many quarts are there in a gallon? There are 4. The next word is quarter. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Quarter. Go ahead and say quarter. Good. How many syllables in quarter? 2. We will say to spell quarter. What will we say to spell? Quarter. All right, the first syllable is quar. Qu-ar. The second syllable is ter. T-er. The er of her. Go ahead and write quarter. Good, good, good. Now help me write it. The first syllable is quar. Qu-ar. The second syllable is ter. T-er. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the qu and the r and the er. Let's read it. Quart-er. Quarter. The next word is quartet. The quartet will perform at the concert. Quartet. Go ahead and say quartet. How many syllables in quartet? 2. We will say to spell quartet. What will we say to spell? Quartet. All right, let's sound it out. Quar. Qu-ar. The second syllable is tet. T-et. Go ahead and write quartet. Excellent. Excellent. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is quar. Qua, r. The second syllable is tet. T, et. And how do we mark it? We'll underline the qua and the r. Let's read it. Quart et quartet. Hey, do you notice anything about these three words? You're right, they all have quart in them. So quart means four. It is a morpheme that means four. So if you have a quart, there are 4 quarts in a gallon. A quarter, there are 4 quarters in a dollar. Or there are 4 quarters in a whole. A quartet is made up of 4 musicians. So whenever you see quart, what does that word have something to do with? 4. That's right. The next word is joyless. Sometimes I feel joyless. Joyless. Go ahead and say joyless. How many syllables in joyless? 2. We will say to spell joyless. What will we say to spell? Joyless. Let's sound it out. Joy. J-oy. Oy that you may use at the end of English words. Less. L-S. Go ahead and write joyless. Good, good. Help me to write it. The first syllable is joy. J-oy. The second syllable is less. L-S. Notice we doubled the S before a single short vowel. And let's read it. You're right. We need to underline the oy. J-oy, L-S, joyless. So what happens if we take this off? We have joy. And if we add less, it means we don't have joy. It's without joy, joyless. The next word is painless. The dental procedure will be painless. Go ahead and say painless. How many syllables in painless? 2. We will say to spell painless. What will we say to spell? Painless. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is pain. A, 2-letter A that you may not use at the end of English words. The second syllable is less. L-S. You've got it. Go ahead and write painless. Good. Good. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is pain. A-N. The second syllable is less. L-S. And how will we mark it? We'll underline the A. Let's read it. A-N-L-S. Painless. The next word is fearless. He is fearless. Fearless. Go ahead and say fearless. How many syllables in fearless? 2. We will say to spell fearless. You've got it. All right, let's sound it out. The first syllable is fear. E, use an E at A, The second syllable is less. L-S. Got it? Go ahead and write fearless. Sound it out. Good. Now help me to write it. The first syllable is fear. E-er. The second syllable is less. L-S. How will we mark it? We'll underline the E. Let's read it. E-er-L-S. Fearless. So do you notice a pattern with these 3 words? They all end in less. And what does less mean? It means without. So if you're joyless, you're without joy. If something is painless, it's without pain. If it's fearless or someone is fearless, they don't have any fear. It's without fear. The last word is lizard. The lizard is green. Lizard. Go ahead and say lizard. How many syllables? 2. We will say to spell Liz-ard. What will we say to spell? Liz-ard. Let's sound it out. The first syllable is Liz. L-I-Z. This is the phonogram that says only Z. The second syllable is ard. R-D. Go ahead and write Liz-ard. Good, good, good. Now help me write it. The first syllable is Liz. U-is. The second syllable is ard. Ard. And how do you mark it? You underline the R. Let's read it. U-is-ard. Lizard. You got it? Great work today.
Combining the science of reading with the joy of learning. Learn more at essentials.logicoфenglish.com.